Can Spider-Man actually exist? In the movies, we see him stopping trains and shooting webs. For decades, people have said that the silk inside of spiders, the web, is stronger than even steel. But is that actually true? The answer is yes. By weight, some spider silk is stronger than most steels, but with the advantage of being incredibly flexible. Scientists have spent decades trying to understand its secrets. The question isn't whether Spider-Man's web is real, but can we make something better? Let's find out together. Check this out.
This is the largest amount of spider silk that's ever been put together for a test like this. So I'm gonna put it to the ultimate test and try to be the first person ever to swing from spider silk. I don't know if it's gonna hold my weight, so let's see. In 3, 2, 1.
In Spider-Man 2, Peter Parker is on a runaway train full of passengers, and to stop it from derailing, he stands in front of the train, fires webs at the buildings around him, and holds on. The webs stretch, some of them snap, but they do just enough to slow down the train and save everyone on board. It sounds like something straight out of a comic book, but real spider silk, the fiber that makes up a spider's web, well, it truly might be this incredible. It's reportedly stronger than steel.
It's pretty strong.
That's crazy.
And 10 times tougher than Kevlar. To find out if that's really true, I went to the Blackledge Spider Lab at the University of Akron, one of the world's leading research centers studying spider silk. Before I went to the lab, I'd always assumed that a spider web was made from just one kind of silk. But that's actually not the case. One type of silk anchors the web to a surface, another forms this stretchy spiral, and a different sticky silk catches prey. Once something's trapped, the spider switches to yet another silk to wrap it up.
And the threads are all, thinner than your hair, so they're gonna look pretty similar to each other unless you use a microscope.
All in all, there are 7 different types of silk, but the strongest is the dragline silk, which holds the web in its place.
We've got the 2 main structural threads in this web. So the spokes on the wagon wheel and the outer framework here, that's all the dragline silk. It's called major ambulate silk if you want the fancy word.
The major ambulate is that one that commonly compared to steel.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And that's partly because it's functioning in a web like this. A bug hits it. To stop that moving bug, most of the work is done by the dragline silk.
To do this, the dragline silk has to be incredibly strong. So to find out how it compares to steel, we wanted to run a test. But it turns out that getting a sample isn't so easy. Alright, we've taken a garden variety spider and knocked it unconscious using CO2. We brought it over here and we put it down with tape. I then started pulling out the dragline silk by hand. It's so light that you can barely feel it. We've attached it to this big rotating mechanism which they custom made to milk spiders.
No spiders were harmed in the making of this video.
Now that we've got our silk, we can put one strand into a machine that slowly pulls on our sample. And as it pulls, we'll monitor 2 key properties. When you pull on the silk, that force is spread over a tiny cross-sectional area. If you divide the force by that area, you get the stress. Now, as you pull, the silk is also stretching. To see just how much, we divide the change in length by the original length to get a measure called the strain. At first, as the stress increases, the strain increases roughly in proportion. And if we stop pulling here, the silk would spring back to its original length. But keep pulling, and eventually it passes a point where some of that stretching becomes permanent.
And it's pulling.
All right, you filmed that. I'm going to be filming this.
And it broke.
Wow.
Eventually, if you keep pulling on the silk, it will break. And at that point, the force applied divided by the cross-sectional area is called its ultimate tensile strength.
We're at about 600 megapascals.
To put that in perspective, if you had a rope of spider silk that had a cross-sectional area of 1 square centimeter, roughly the size of your little finger, it could support about 60,000 newtons of force. That's the weight of a fully grown African elephant. And that's not even the strongest spider silk out there.